Hey guys, hope you're happy. I brought out whiteboards from my son's math class just to show you guys this stuff.
Awesome. All right, mute your phone, Rach. I'm gonna play this and I'll bring you right back in. Here's what I said that I would do if I was managing Crawford in the negotiations with Errol Spence. Same interview, August 3rd on YSM Sports. You know what I'm doing? Way too much talking. Take my word for it. I usually say don't take my word for it. These are facts, okay? So what I would say to Bud if I was managing him, if they offer us at least 10 million and at least maybe 70, 30, 60, 40 on pay-per-view, we're gonna take that. You know why? Because we know we can beat Spence. But if there's some kind of doubt. Did you hear that? If they offered us, this is if I was managing Crawford, if they offered us a minimum of $10 million, right? We talk about guarantee, 70, 30, 60, 40, which is fair based on the projections, based on Bud Crawford's previous performances on pay per view compared to Errol Spence. We will take the fight. Yes, we want the fight. Why? Because we know we can beat Errol Spence. And then in a few seconds, I'm going to say in the interview, so that when we beat Errol Spence, we can run it back in the rematch and we can secure two big paydays in a matter of 1 year. I just wanted to play that. I'm setting the foundation. Rachel, you're back. You have the whiteboard with the markers.
I have three whiteboards. So,
Three whiteboards.
yeah, so I was going to give, do we want to go with the lowest guarantee or the highest guarantee?
Let's start with the lowest guarantee first.
Okay. It's going to be really interesting. All right.
Yeah.
So what I did was, this is based on, I picked the lowest guarantee at just $1 million. I kept it at 1, 2, and 3 million, just so that it's just easy math and you guys can do this calculation at home. So let's see. Can you see my board? Where's my board? All right. So if I were to offer you $1 million, okay, your threshold to hit is 100,000. So at this point, you're doing 500,000 homes at $100, and we kept that number the same. So all of these simulations are based on 500,000 homes hit at $100. That's a really high pay-per-view number, but I'm trying to do round numbers. And you negotiated 60% of that. So based on that, that means you could only make money off of 400,000 homes. So 400,000 homes times $100 is 40 million. And then by the time you do the 60%, you're at 24 million plus the 1 million that you had on top as your guarantee. That's $25 million. Okay. So you're like, I'm going to be difficult. I want a higher guarantee. Well, higher guarantees means higher thresholds. So we go up to $2 million. Same numbers, just $2 million and up the threshold 100,000. So based on that, at a 60% plus your guarantee, you're only at what? 20 million? $20 million. Okay. Let's go all the way up to 3 million. So you're like, oh, cool. I'm going to do 3 million as a guarantee. Mind you, this is business. People run numbers. They're not just going to give you money if they think they're going to lose. 3 million with a 300,000 threshold. Again, it's still staying at the 500,000 homes you have to hit at $100, and 60% equals what? So even though you had your guarantee high, by the end of the day with the pay-per-view, and this is just based on pay-per-view. I didn't even add in gate, okay? That's the number that you're going to be hit with, because the higher the guarantee, the higher the gamble is going to be for you. They're not going to give you the same threshold as a $1 million guarantee. So again, the $1 million guarantee, your total is $25 million, where everywhere else at the lowest is $15 million, is a $3 million guarantee. The reason I'm saying that is because when people argue about guarantees and pay-per-view backends and things like that, those are the numbers that you need to look at. Bud needed, I always said this, Bud needed to know his numbers. What was his numbers at what thresholds? And what was he breaking at? Because if you don't believe you can hit that 500,000, then don't bet on it. Get a $5 million guarantee, okay? get a $5 million guarantee, and then and call it a day if you don't believe you can hit those numbers. But if you know you're hitting over certain amount of numbers, let's just say that you're hitting 300,000 homes, then and your guarantee is lower, it's at like a 50,000 home 50,000 home threshold, then you can make that differential in the calculations, but you have to know what numbers you are going to hit, at least at the very minimum. Now, when he said that there's money on the table, again, let me show you. At $1 million guarantee, at 500,000 threshold, at 60%. So let's say you wipe this out. You wipe out the guarantee of 1 million. You're like, hey, bud, I'm going to give you 5 million guaranteed. That's it. And that's all the promoter has to pay. What is the promoter making at the end of the day? That minus 5 million. And you don't get any of this. You don't get any of the gate or anything else. Does that make sense? Did I just bring it back down to 6th grade math?
No. Hey, you know, you and I know this like the back of our hands. And I also believe that the fans, the viewership watching live and live in color and the replay of this live, I do think that they understand. Can you show that whiteboard again with the $1 million? I think that was the first one.
Yeah, and let me say there's people in the chats already saying like, it doesn't jump. Of course it doesn't jump like that. Of course this is not Bud's thing. It's not $1 million. This is a math experiment. You guys can plug in the numbers and play it the way you guys want to play it, but I try to keep it as round as possible. That's the reason. So
with that 100K threshold, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about that 60%, which is the 400K, and $100 is very generous.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to keep around.
I want to make sure that the fan base that are in an elementary stage of the business don't get lost in translation. Can you go to that part where the 500K homes at $100, the 60% starting at the 400K, just for the million? Can you go back to that for them?
Yeah. So basically, this is 500K at $100 is the base amount that I put on all 3 of the simulations. Okay. So this is being said at the end of the day, they sold 500,000 homes at $100. Okay. The reason there's 400,000 over here as a calculation is because the threshold's 100,000. That means he doesn't make any money until the 100,001 household sold. Does that make sense? Did I explain that correctly? So this is the numbers that come in after the fight. And this is how they're going to calculate it, because you can't make any money until after the 101 households sold. You don't get 60% until 100,001. So that's the calculation for this one. And then since it's only 60%, you have to take that 60%. And from that 60%, you add back in the 1 million guarantee that you got, and that's your total pot.
Very well stated. And the reason why I'm glad you used 60%, let's be clear on something, Rachel, for the fan base. The 60% is not going to the B side.
No.
Absolutely not.